Let's do it. Oh, yeah!
Way back when I was just a little bitty boy, living in a box under the stairs in the corner of the basement of the house half a block down the street from Jerry's bait shop. You know the place. Well, anyway, back then life was going swell and everything was just peachy. Except, of course, for the undeniable fact that every single morning, my mother would make me a big old bowl of sauerkraut for breakfast. Big bowl of sauerkraut! Every single morning! Driving me crazy! I said to my mom, I said, hey, Mom, what's up with all the sauerkraut? I said, my dear sweet mother, she just looked at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train. And she leaned right down next to me, and she said, it's good for you! And then she tied me to the wall and stuck a bubble in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but sauerkraut until I was 26 and a half years old.
Stop it! Thank you very much, Tippy Tap, for the 15 months. $15. I hope you like sliding in the 90s and every star you got is wrong. Very nice, dude. Thank you, Tippy Tap, for the 15.
The flight attendants ran out of Dr. Pepper and salted peanuts, and the in-flight moved to a Vietnam with Pauly Shore. And oh yeah, 3 of the airplane engines burned out. We went to a tailspin and crashed into a hillside. The plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died! Except for me. You know why? So I crawled from the twisted, burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along my big leather suitcase and my garment bag and my tenor saxophone, my 12-pound bowling ball, and my lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark snorkel. But finally I arrived at the world-famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn, where the towels are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup right out of the ashtrays if you wanna.
It's okay, they're clean.
When I checked into my room and I turned down the AC and I turned on the Spectrovision, and I'm just about to eat that little chocolate mint on my pillow that I love so very, very much, when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, now who could that be? I say, who is it? No answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's some big fat hermaphrodite with a flock of seagulls haircut and only one nostril. Oh man, I hate it when
What?
I'm right.
Is
So
it
anyway,
Gloria?
he walked into my room and he grabs my lucky snorkel, and I'm like, hey, you can't have that. That snorkel's been just like a snorkel to me. And he's like, tough. And I'm like, give it. And he's like, make me. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus and I bit off his ear and he chewed on my eyebrows and I took out his appendix and he gave me a colonic irrigation. Yes, indeed, you better believe it. And somehow in the middle of it all, the phone got knocked off the hook. And 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And you know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up the dial again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator. If you'd like to make a call, please hang up the dial again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I love this song.
Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my snorkel. But I made a solemn vow right then and there that I would not rest. I would not sleep for an instant until the one-nostril man was brought to justice. But first I decided to buy some donuts. So I got in my car.
I have no idea, Bucky. No idea.
And I walked up to the guy behind the counter and he says,
donuts.
I said, you got any Bavarian cream-filled donuts? He said,
No, we're out of Bavarian cream-filled donuts.
I said, you got any cinnamon rolls? He said,
No, we're out of cinnamon rolls.
I said, you got an apple fritters? He said,
No, we're out of apple fritters.
I said, you got any bear claws? He said, wait a minute, I'll go check. I said, well, in that case,
Bro.
In that case, what do you have?
What?
He says, all I got right now is this box of 12 starving crazed weasels. I said, okay, I'll take that. So he hands me the box and I open up the lid and the weasels jump out and they immediately latch onto my face and start biting me all over. Oh, man.
How do you come up with this?
Tearing me apart. You know, I think it was just about that time that a little ditty started going through my head. I believe it went a little something like this. Oh, come on, me, get off me. Oh, come on, come on. I ran out into the street with these flesh-eating weasels all over my face, waving my arms all around and just running like a constipated wiener dog. And as luck would have it, that's exactly when I ran into the
He
girl
ain't
of
called
my
normal out. You're right.
She was a calligraphy enthusiast with a slight overbite and hair the
Everybody
color
say
of
hi,
syringe
Zelda.
tissues. I'll never forget the very first thing she said to me. She said, hey, you got weasels on your face. That's when I knew it was true love. We were inseparable after that. Oh, we ate together, we bathed together, we even shared the same piece of mint-flavored dental floss. The world was our burrito. So we got married and we bought us a house and had 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Superfly. We were so very, very, very happy. Oh, yeah. But then one fateful night, Zelda said to me, she said, Sweetie Pumpkin, do you want to join the Columbia Record Club? I said, whoa! Hold on now, baby! I'm just not ready for that kind of a commitment! So we broke up and I never saw her again, but that's just the way things go! In Albuquerque!
What is this song?
Albuquerque!
Thank you, Miran.
Anyway, things really started looking up for me because about a week later, I finally achieved my lifelong dream. That's right, I got me a part-time job at the Sizzler.
Yeah.
I even made Employee of the Month after I put
Thank
out
you,
that
B-Ray, for the
grease
gift of
fire
something.
with my
Albuquerque.
face. Oh yeah, everybody was pretty jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, like one time I was out in the parking lot trying to remove my excess earwax with a golf pencil when I see this guy Marty trying to carry a big old sofa up the stairs all by himself. So I say to him, I say, hey, you want me to help you with that? And Marty, he just rolls his eyes and goes, no, I want you to cut off my arms and legs with a chainsaw. So I did. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, hey man, I was just being sarcastic. Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? I'm not a mind reader for crying out loud. Besides, now he's got a really cute nickname.
Torso Boy.
So what's he complaining about? Say, that reminds me of another amusing anecdote. This guy comes up to me on the street and he tells me he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite out of his jugular
What?
vein. And he's yelling and screaming and bleeding all over, and I'm like, hey, come on, don't you get it? But he just keeps rolling around on the sidewalk, bleeding and screaming, ah! 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 You know, completely missing the irony of the whole situation. Man, some people just can't take a joke. Anyway,
Oh, no.
where was I?
Orion, thank you very much for the gift of something, Torso Boy.
Well, okay, anyway, I know it's kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is I hate sauerkraut! That's all I'm really trying to say. And by the way, if one
Rose,
day you
thank you
happen
for the
to wake up
70
and
months.
find
Thank you
yourself
very
in an
much.
existential quandary, full of loathing and self-doubt and racked with the pain and isolation of your pitiful, meaningless existence, at least you can take a small bit of comfort in knowing that somewhere out there in this crazy old mixed-up universe of ours, there's still a little place. called Albuquerque.
Spell it, chat.
Albuquerque.
Are you ready?
Albuquerque.
freaking song ends with a bad note is so ridiculous to me.